she's just a typical teenage girl, she'd argue with me and fight with me, I was just a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
She never hit me or anything, but, I'd argue back with her, and, she's like a big sister.
So when she came to live with you guys, you guys shared a bunk bed. You were on the
Uh-huh.
bottom and she was on the top.
Yep.
So describe that a little bit. And I mean, I love that story about you eating her buttons. Like,
Yeah.
literally eating them.
Yeah, and I put a doll up in her bed one day. It was a little ceramic doll, and she got pissed off and threw it on the floor and broke it, and I remember arguing with her about that. And
so what was she doing with the buttons? Didn't you say she was in the crafts?
she was making a dress. The
Okay.
buttons were for a dress or something she was making. She sewed and stuff all the time.
It sounds like at that time when she was living there, it was really stressful for your mom because
It was.
she had 2 little kids, right? So
Mm-hmm.
kind of describe that setup. It wasn't not. It sounds like it wasn't a very big house, so that adds another layer of.
Right. It was just a 2-bedroom house. I mean, it was roomy, though. I mean, those houses were really roomy. They were just row houses that the company put up for workers to live in while they worked for St. Regis, or it was James Neal's first. And then he sold it at St. Regis. And anyway, these houses, yeah, they had built for the workers. And yeah, it was just 2-bedroom.
And what kind of work was this? Your Eileen's husband was working.
Yeah, my dad was working, and he was a logger all his life.
Oh, so hard work.
Yes.
And so you got to deal with this teenage kid that's like,
But she was a brat,
Yeah, and so it sounds like, according to this report that I read, that part of the deal that your sister had made with the state to be her foster care provider, was that that Barbara couldn't go sleep out. She had to come back every night, and so she didn't.
Right.
And it sounds like, according to this report, that Eileen had turned her in, and so that's what. So talk about from your. I wanted to come from you, like what happened during that time.
Yeah, she would stay out all night, sometimes, and mom didn't need the aggravation of the trouble that. I think everybody knows how horrendous CPS is, and mom just she couldn't deal with the. With that, she wouldn't, and mom would tell her over and over again, you got to come home, and she wouldn't. So.
And talk about the conversation that led to Barbara, because this is a really important part, because this is your mom's guilt, right? And it totally makes sense. It's misplaced, The killer is the one that did this. But talk about the night, or however you want to describe it, of when Barbara, left.
I remember mom she was yelling at her, you won't listen to me, you won't, stay at home and stay and run around all night, and you have to go. You have to go do something else, because you can't stay here anymore. Because I'm not going to deal with the state, and I'm not going to, and have these 2 little kids, and I'm just not going to deal with it anymore. So I think she left either the next day or the day after that.
Mm-hmm. And then how long? Because from what I read, it sounds like your mom saw her one last time before she was murdered. And, I mean, obviously she didn't know that was coming, but she had found out that Barbara was going to college in Vancouver, and Barbara was still mad at her. And it was like they hadn't had the time. I mean, I'm sure they would have worked it out. But
I'm sure they would have too. They were a lot alike too. That's why they butted heads. My mom and her, Barbara, were, out of all the kids, they were the smartest. I mean, the other ones were pretty kind of slow, especially poor Alice. But yeah, mom was real sharp. She still remembers math from, like hard math, like algebra and stuff from back in high school, and Barbara was like that too. Just school was easy. I'm sure nobody reported her missing because it wasn't unusual to not hear from her. And the police called, the ones that called, and told my mom that they found her body, and she had been, she'd been murdered or whatever. And then they called her back and told her that it wasn't her. He made a mistake. And then we were watching the news one evening, and there she was on the news.
And what did your mom? What do you?
She just started screaming and crying, and she was so mad. And she was mad at the police, and she was mad, just so upset.
And you've described your mom as being very stoic.
Very. I've probably seen her cry maybe 3 or 4 times my whole life, and that was one of the times.
And as a little kid, do you remember that day?
I remember it just scared the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
That she was like that, because she just was never like that.
And what do you remember about how the family changed after finding this out?
I remember mom changing. Yeah, she changed. That's when she changed. That is when she changed. Huh. I don't know. She's just always sad, I think, all the time. That was her baby sister.
And I'm sure, I can't even imagine, has she ever gone there with you? And I mean, it sounds like you've intuited that she feels tremendous guilt. Has she ever talked?
She's told me before how she feels guilty. She wants to know what happened, before she dies. What happened to Barbara?
But does she say, "I wish I wouldn't have"?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how does she say that?
She's told me before. She's like, I just feel so guilty about Barbara, about telling her to leave the house, and she's like, today is time. She's like, I wouldn't even blink, But my mom got married when she was 17 too, to my dad. Her dad had to go sign the paper at the courthouse saying it was okay, and so.
What do you think if your daughter would have been able to talk today? What do you think she would have said? Because I mean, it's interesting.
Pretty much the same thing.
Like what do you? Because I mean, it's 3 generations. She's probably seen what it's been like for you. Like what do you?
And
think
her too.
Well, describe that.
She sees the guilt, and she sees, tremendous guilt.
Even though none of you guys had anything to do with it.
Mm-mm.
What do you think?
I think I feel guilty because I didn't stay on anybody's ass. Like, I think I should have with the police and stuff. I made sure that they followed through and made sure, they didn't just come up and tease my mom, I mean, they would drive all the way up here even, that, when you come all the way from Vancouver clear to here, that gives you hope, is what it does. And then they never get back a hold of you again. It just, like, it's bad. It's bad. All these years, that case has been cold, and they never ever got a hold of us until, like he said, 2012 or yeah.
So then you got a phone call from a detective, and they said, "We want to come up and take your DNA."
Well, no, he called to say that he was looking into the case now, and I can't remember what else he said. But then it was okay, then skip ahead. So that kind of just went down the toilet and never heard from him again. And then 2016 they showed up to take the DNA. So she got it hopeful again. They did send a letter. They sent us a letter saying that they thought this was who, I can't remember the name now.
Warren Forrest?
Is the one that we think he's the one that did it, And I told Mom, I said, ask him if I can go and talk to him. I'll go talk to him. I'll ask him.